They're fighting against everything that we're trying to put together to form a better country. And just like the debt ceiling, they're going to turn and fight against everything. Just like you just said, fight against everything that they just agreed upon.
There is an ancient proverb. They didn't have a name of who wrote this proverb, but it was something that was on the wall of one of these tombs or monuments or edifices in the Nile Valley. And it said, essentially, know your enemy.
Mm.
Sometimes your enemy is you.
Ooh.
Hmm.
Ooh.
Write that down. Write that down.
That is deep.
And teach it to your children.
Yeah.
Teach it to us, Mr. Hare.
Know your enemy.
Now, how do we become our enemy?
Because you get seduced into believing that somebody is actually in your corner who is doing his absolute best to stab you in your heart.
You know what? You look like Spike Lee with a beard. You do. I'm looking at you.
But I'm taller. I'm taller.
Yeah, you taller. Yeah, much taller.
That's a bad man right there. Bad man.
I mean, when he was saying that, I'm looking at him like, wow, that's a Spike Lee. He actually looked like Spike Lee with a beard.
Yeah. So I want us to understand that's what's in front of us right now. That's today. In the next 14 days, what is it? Today's the 16th? 14th?
Today is
15th?
what? The 15th.
Today's the 15th.
Yeah.
In the next 16 days.
Oh, we're right there.
No, excuse me.
We're right there.
In the next 15 days.
Yeah.
If we don't come up with a budget resolution to fund the government that starts October 1 of this year, we go into default.
So how many months did we save when we did this before? What did we say? 3 months?
Well, yeah, you went from July 19th or so, to now. So that's August, September, not even 2 months.
Not even 2 months.
Right?
Yeah.
And so they did a budget deal to make it appear that they had done something, but all they did was delayed the confrontation to today. It's the same confrontation with the same people who are going to be doing the same thing, holding the country hostage so that they can have their way.
By the way, Mr. Hare, don't think your words are falling on
deaf ears.
Deaf ears, because I've been seeing reactions from after the show is over. Once it goes to social media, people be, oh, teach us. This is good. I'm happy to know that. So there are people that actually hearing what you got to say.
This format really should grow because, we spoke about before, Mr. Hare, people need to hear this.
Yeah, people need to know this.
And people need to repeat it.
Yeah.
To other people, share it with other people.
Right.
Write this down again. Know thy enemy.
Know thy enemy. Not
your
enemy. You could be your worst enemy.
Right. And then with a semicolon, right? Sometimes your enemy is you.
Yeah.
You need to be hip to yourself.
Deep.
When Playboy started talking about he was anti-woke, anti-woke doesn't mean what he said it means. Anti-woke is you being aware of what's happening around you, what is in your self-interest. I'm only operating in what I shared with Norm years ago, right? The same basic premise I operate from all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that survives everything is self-interest.
Yeah.
Self-interest.
So if you build your models around people's self-interest, the models will persevere.
Right.
You can teach a person how to help themselves because the person who's going to be helped is them.
Right.
So they have the ultimate motivation to do whatever it is you're teaching them to do.
Absolutely.
So we had come up with a model, we as a country, and I should say the progressive people in this country, had decided that in order for us to be able to help people get through this pandemic, we needed to find a way to keep their kids in safe environments and allow people to be able to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
So they came up with a what do they call it? The tax credit, the child care tax credit program, which was an expansion of the employment tax credit program, where they were giving people, essentially $3,000 or $3,600 a year per child you had.
Yeah.
And you could break that money up into monthly increments so that you wouldn't be tempted to use the money in one lump sum, go buy yourself a car. You'll spread that money out month to month,
Yeah.
and use that money to help you to buy food, to buy clothes, to buy gasoline for your car, to be able to do buy medicine, all the things that need to be done. You got people that have elderly people at home, and all those things that were being done,
Keep the economy going.
with
Keep
the
things
economy
going right.
But more than that, it allowed children
Mm-hmm.
to be cared for while their parents went to work.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we said at the time, if you do this as a 1-year deal, at the end of that 1-year period, the Republicans are going to hold you hostage, and they're not going to do the deal unless you give them something. Well, I was wrong. The Republicans didn't hold us hostage. The Republicans said, we're just not going to do the child care deal at all anymore, period. They just refused to sign off on it. And so this was September 30th of last year when that legislation expired. During the year prior to September 30th of 2022, poverty had been reduced from 12.5%, almost 13% for kids in this country, was reduced to just above 5% for kids in this country.
Wow.
140% reduction in poverty. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Whatever that is, it's like a 60 or 70%, 60% reduction in poverty in this country.
Also, when you look at it on top of that, didn't the unemployment rate drop at that period of time?
And has still stayed down.
And stayed there, and people were able to afford to
pay for child care.
Child care themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that basically, if child care costs $10,000 a year per child, and you can get $3,600 a year from the federal government, it makes it possible for you to finance the rest of that in the monthly payments. So even though you don't like having to pay that money, it's a whole lot better than having to pay the whole additional
full ride.
Right,
And
the
the
full
evidence,
ride.
and the evidence for me was I saw people that was poor in my community end up having 2 cars. So, and now 2 years later, though.
If I were you, I wouldn't tell people that.
No, because that's the evidence. That's the physical evidence. I saw actually people.
No, but the Republicans are saying
that's making their point.
Remember in Rosewood, what did the players say in Rosewood? I don't have a piano. he got a piano.
He got a piano.
So Willie's people are going to be saying, I don't have 2 cars. she got 2 cars in her house, right? See, so you got to be careful how you position that stuff, in front of people.
But since then, they lost. Those people lost their 2 cars. They don't even have 1 car.
The point is that you didn't know what the consequence was going to be until a year later. You had to see what would happen. This is like an experiment.
Yeah.
You gave people this resource, and poverty fell by 60%. Now you took it away. You had to wait a year to see what the outcome was going to be. The outcome is that poverty went back up.
Right.
So,
and I saw that too, Mr.
Right?
Here. I saw that too.
So now poverty is back to 12.5%, 12.7%, again, back to where it was before the child care tax credit was put in place.
Right.
Do you hear any Republicans taking any responsibility at all for this? I mean, all of them. The Mitt Romneys, whatever.
Well, they don't care about that, Mr. Here. That's what they wanted. They those people don't deserve nothing. I mean, why would they care about that?
It's that sort of stuff that people in our public have to understand. Now, you may be somebody who you just really feel strongly that you need to be able to carry a 50 caliber, rifle. I don't know how you can fit that up under your shirt, but carry a 50 caliber. You just need to be able to do that to make you feel American. You need to be able to do that, right? You need to be able to call people ugly names, on the radio, and for nobody to say anything about it.
Wow.
You got things that you just have in your heart that you need to do. I get all of that. But there are some things that are in your direct interest, and you should fight for those things that are in your direct interest. Having the ability to take care of our children, whether your children are Klansmen, whether your children are Nazis,
Wow.
whether your children are communists,
Wow, he
whether
putting it
your
out
children.
there, yo.
I mean, it doesn't matter what your spin is for your children.
Right.
They are still your children.
Children.
It's priority number one because
Priority
they're
number
they're
one.
the future.
You got to take care of the kids.
Yeah.
You just got to do it.
Yeah.
Right? And this whining about, well, where's the money going to come from? Increase taxes. If you have to increase taxes by 0.75% to be able to take care of these kids, then you increase taxes by 0.75%.
Mm-hmm.
You don't give away 41% of your corporate tax income, giving that back to the corporations with no revenue stream to cover it, and throw $400 billion out the window and whatnot. You don't do things like that.
Corporate kids are being taken care of.
There you go. See, because they can take care of theirs because they got a lot of money.
Right.
But those of you that don't have, this is what we promise you. You know, the cast of characters, Marjorie Green and all of them, here's what we promise you. You don't have anything now, we promise you, you're not going to have anything in the future. That's their promise to you. And they're keeping that promise. They're doing everything in their power to take away your ability to have in the future. So there's so many pieces that need to be talked through. One of the things that is taking place, you remember our current judge? I see you got those fingers up there telling me about the time. Judge, how do you say her name? Eileen Cannon, that has control of the Mar-a-Lago documents, classified documents case.
Mm-hmm.
We said at the time when she was appointed to be the judge on this case that was a death knell for this case. She's a Donald Trump appointee, and she's going to bend over backwards to find ways to make life easier for Donald Trump. The one thing Donald Trump wants to have done, other than having the charges all thrown away, is to make this thing take forever, to litigate. So by the time you get done litigating this stuff, it's going to be 2026 or 2027. He's going to be 81, 82 years old. And they're going to say, even if we convict him, we still won't be able to do anything about it because he's going to be too old to be sent to jail, right? So that's the strategy that he's playing from. Judge Eileen Cannon seems to be in the corner of making life as easy for Donald Trump as possible.
Right.
However, she has recently actually begun to talk about penalties that will be issued if Donald Trump takes any of those documents and does something that has not been authorized by the court to do.
Wow.
So the court says that those documents have to be reviewed in what they refer to as a SCIF. This is what they call a sensitive compartmented information facility. Now, there was a SCIF at Mar-a-Lago, but the courts have said we're not going to send documents to Mar-a-Lago because it's Mar-a-Lago where you were misusing the documents and hiding the documents in the first place.
Right.
So if the reason why you're being litigated, you're being tried right now is because you took documents to Mar-a-Lago and then you hid them at Mar-a-Lago, why would I then, in order to give you access to information that you need for the trial, to have you be able to take more documents back to Mar-a-Lago and manipulate them at Mar-a-Lago? That would be just insane, right? But that's exactly what's going on right now. So now the judge, Eileen Cannon, has ordered that the classified information security officers establish a workspace for the Donald Trump's defense team, but they have to do it at an existing facility, not anywhere near Mar-a-Lago.
Okay.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
She said that the SCIF should contain a working area, will be outfitted with any secure office equipment that Trump's defense team says they need to have, that she considered to be reasonable and necessary to prepare Donald Trump's case. But she said she did not rule out criminal penalties for Donald Trump if he violates this order. So basically what she's saying is, I've bent over backwards for you over the course of the span of the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But you're not going to put me in a position where I'm going to be accused of facilitating you committing crimes, okay?
Going back, Self-interest, sir.
Self-interest, right? See,
Yeah.
I'm a Donald Trump fan, but I'm not that much of a fan.
I think I like me a little better than that.
So an article that was written, I only got a few minutes here in CNN, talking about the Republicans' impeachment gamut may actually backfire. The House Republicans are facing resistance within their own ranks to impeach President Joe Biden. There are actually people in the Republican Party in the House who are saying to themselves, if we do articles of impeachment, what is it that we're actually going to be charging Joe Biden with? And the only answer that we have is we're charging Joe Biden with being a Democrat. And unfortunately, that's not illegal in this country. We wish it was illegal, but it's not illegal in this country. We're going to be embarrassed if we try to do articles of impeachment, because remember, the House of Representatives draws up. They're like the district attorney in your county, right? They go before a grand jury and they call for an indictment.
Right.
But the trial is not held with the House of Representatives. The the trial is held in the House of the Senate. So if articles of impeachment are voted on in the House and the bill goes to the Senate, remember what happened when the last two impeachments went down. Those senators weren't making a decision based on whether Trump was guilty or not guilty. They were making decisions based on whether or not their party, they in their party are willing to cross party lines to vote on what was true and what was not true. That's the same thing that's going to happen here. Democrats aren't going to make a decision based on whether or not Trump or Biden is guilty or not guilty, whatever it is they claim. It's going to be a political decision. It's not even a real trial. It's just a test of political strength. And that's where we are right now. So I know we're at the end of our hour, but I want us to understand that's what's in front of us right now. All of this is based on, or is framed around the reality that our country is in a prism now where people are not becoming part of our government to actually govern. People are becoming a part of our government to push political agendas. And there's only politics that's at the base of everything that is being done in our government right now. And that is going to happen, that is happening to our disfavor as a community of American people. Thank you all for listening to us and supporting us. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend. We look forward. Maybe Buffalo will be able to throw the ball to themselves.
Oh my God!
You know what? There's a rule. You could actually throw the ball to the people on your own team.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I'm sorry. That slipped. Look forward to talking to you all on Monday here at Living for the People at 91.3 FM WBNY. See you all then.